My name is Françoise Hamlin, and I have republished Vera Pigee's autobiography, The Struggle of Struggles. She published this autobiography in two parts in 1975 and 1979, and it fell out of print. So what I was able to do was to republish it with a brand new introduction that I wrote, and I edited it and annotated it and added a timeline to help new readers get to know her and to discover who she is. Vera Pigee played a central role in my first book, Crossroads at Clarksdale, and I got to know her very, very well in that process. And this book she wrote was a primary source. She's a woman who describes herself as a wife and a mother, a businesswoman, and a leader. And indeed she was. She ran the NAACP youth councils in Mississippi, and she was the branch secretary. So she was very, very involved in the civil rights movement. She doesn't embrace the term feminism at all, but yet she really understood the gendered dynamics of leadership and memory making. And she was an activist mother. She used the roles that she had embraced as a wife and a mother to do the work that she did. And in that way, she is very representative of many of the women during this time who were on the front lines in the civil rights movement. She really wanted to make sure that the work that she did and the work that her collaborators did got into the record, because she felt pushed out by the men in the civil rights movement, particularly in the NAACP, the organization she was a part of. She's one of the very first to write her autobiography, coming in 1975. And she did so because she was already being written out of the books that had been written about the civil rights movement up to that point. And she saw that the only way for her to be written in was to write herself in. So it's called The Struggle of Struggles precisely for that, right? It's the struggles of the civil rights movement, but also her struggle within it. She recognized generational conflicts, and she spoke about them very candidly, which does rub some people the wrong way, but it's all in context, and I think that's what's really important about this book. It's written in 1975, so it is a primary source in and of itself. Mrs. Pigee was not a formal figurehead leader, so she represents a very different kind of leadership, a very gendered kind of leadership that she recognized. And in the midst of that, she was fighting white supremacy, so she's battling on a series of registers. But then the book also documents the costs of doing that work and what it did to her and her family over time. What the book shows is that she was very sure of herself. And it's really important and necessary to have a kind of ego and a kind of strength to do the work that she was able to do, to sustain it over 2 decades, and to be able to record it. And get other people to assist her in recording this work. I think what the book really does is shows how movements are messy, that people are really complicated, and there is no smooth story for anything that happens. And that's the sort of the joy of doing this work and what keeps me interested in doing this work. What I also love about this book is that it does show how she's exceptional, right? That she's able to do some amazing work in a time and place. But I think what she also shows is that there are many people like her working behind the scenes. And so she wants to recognize this as a form of leadership and to encourage others to continue the work that she did, but also to make space for themselves. Republishing this book puts her in a permanent space in the civil rights historiography. I had the privilege of getting to know her and her daughter. They're now both deceased. And so understanding that there's no other family member, it was a labor of love for me to bring her back, to republish this book that she didn't want to go out of print, introduce her back into Clarksdale, and to introduce her to everyone else. I've spent a lot of time talking about her because she's such a central figure in my book, and now other people can discover her, and I'm really thrilled about that. One of the wonderful things is that in January 2024, the Wall Street Journal named The Struggle of Struggles one of the top 5 books about women in the civil rights movement. So I'm just extremely proud of being able to do this work and very honored that she trusted me with her story.